if you have diarrhea more than a dozen times a day, each and every day, how far would you go to make it stop? Would you consider a fecal transplant? Well, believe it or not, doctors are transplanting healthy feces into sick patients to cure a serious bacterial infection. And it sounds disgusting, it sounds outlandish, it sounds primitive. Mm-hmm. But diarrhea, some forms of diarrhea are caused by an imbalance in the bacteria. And you can have too much, quote unquote, bad bacteria.
And that bad bacteria just takes over, and it's really, really hard to treat.
You mean life-threatening.
Mm-hmm. So a fecal transplant can put some good bacteria back into your system. It could even save your life. And joining us now via Polycom is gastroenterologist Dr. Timothy Rubin. And Dr. Rubin, explain to everyone this whole idea of fecal transplants.
Fecal transplant is a novel idea. It's a novel procedure where we want to take healthy human bacteria and get it into a patient who's suffering from an imbalance of chronic bacteria. What happens is when you take antibiotics for, say, a sinus infection, it works very well for the sinus infection, but it also disrupts. This antibiotic will disrupt the healthy bacterial balance of your colon. That one bacteria that we call Clostridium difficile, or C. diff, then can emerge, take over, and make you sick. And when you have too much C. diff making you sick, you have constant watery, severe diarrhea, abdominal pain, weight loss, and fatigue, and of course it can be life-threatening at times, and so the stool transplant could save your life. The stool transplant is meant to restore this bacterial balance.
Most people that have done this have tried the typical treatments for months and months and months, the antibiotic treatment?
Yes, that is correct. We get involved when people have been sick with the C. diff for literally many months. They've had recurrences and recurrences, and they've tried multiple courses of antibiotics without success, and so that is what we do. That's where we step in, and we help provide an opportunity for a different treatment that is highly successful.
So it's a
and
last
C. diff colitis, it's really important to understand this, can be deadly. Now, do you recommend probiotics still, like the ones found in yogurt, to your patients, or no?
Yes, we do always recommend probiotics along the way, but ultimately the stool transplant or fecal transplant is the super or ultimate probiotic. The role of probiotics is somewhat controversial.
Dr. Rubin, I have to ask you, how do you decide who's the ideal
donor?
Poop donor.
Yeah.
I mean, to put it...
That's a great question. Who is the donor? Well, first of all, the donor is a healthy living person. We don't have a stool bank to draw from, so to speak. Typically, the donor is a household member, like a sibling or a spouse, because, of course, if you live with somebody, you're well matched in terms of your colon biology.
You know, Dr. Rubin, we have an animation here because fecal transplants used to be an invasive procedure through the colon. It required anesthesia, but nowadays, doctors are actually transmitting feces in a matter of seconds through your nose. What you see there is a nasogastric tube being placed. The tube goes down through the stomach into the small intestine, and then over the course of a few seconds, this donor's feces is inserted, and then all that bacteria in the donor's feces starts to colonize your colon. It's a very simple procedure. Yes, it is sort of disgusting, but 91% of those who had this done reported the diarrhea improved in just one treatment. Fatigue also improved. So, Dr. Rubin, are we going to see more and more of this?
I would say certainly. 5, 6 years ago, it was much less common and probably more controversial. As we do more and more of these, other institutions are starting to do it. So yes, we are starting to do this more around the country. And it might not be a last-ditch effort. It might be something we do early on so people don't have to be sick for 6 or 7 months before they get this definitive therapy.
Do not try this at home. Dr. Rubin, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. My pleasure. Thank you for having me on.